He has been Victor Newman for the last 37 years on The Young and the Restless. But before all the glamour and daytime drama, he grew up in post-war Germany, struggling with poverty and making ends meet. Braeden recounts all of this in his new memoir, I'll Be Damned, and I am honored that he is joining us here this morning. Eric, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ben.
What a real pleasure. So talk to us about growing this early childhood. That it's a window into a part of your life that I don't think a lot of people know. Talk to me about those early days in Germany, right after the war. This is must be a type of poverty, a level of poverty that not too many people are familiar with.
Born in the 41, somewhere in the middle of the war, and the town I grew up in was destroyed to the extent of 96%. They threw about 500,000 bombs over the town. And afterwards, you grew up in total destruction, in the rubble, you know. So be aware of who you elect.
Yeah, but this must, I mean, the way you describe it in the book, it's descriptive. You remember it very, very well. This must be something that you've carried with you your whole life. This isn't something you let go of.
You often, whenever you hear a siren, or you hear a certain airplane noise, suddenly it evokes memories of that time. You know?
And then you come to America, you get a series of odd jobs, and I mean, some of them are just downright odd.
Downright odd.
You work.
You do anything to survive.
There was some work with a cadaver.
My first job.
That was your first job.
I had a cousin who had sponsored me to come to America. She taught at the Medical University of Texas in Galveston. And in good German fashion, she had a job for me the next morning. I just traveled by Greyhound bus from New York through the South, just had turned 18, to Galveston in the middle of the summer, through an utterly segregated South. And then came to Galveston, and the next morning started with a colleague of hers who was a pathologist who did studies on arthritis. So my job was to cut open knee joints in a cadaver hall. Welcome to America.
Welcome to America. Tell me how this leads to acting.
Well, good question. I don't want anyone out there to say, I've got to do that in order to become an actor.
Yes. But obviously Texas, closer to Hollywood.
Yes, well then later on
Germany.
Texas and then Montana. And in Montana I had a scholarship in track and field at the University of Montana.
The sports was very important to you.
Very important because I'd won the German Youth Championship in discus and javelin and shot put. And had a scholarship and for a year and worked in a lumber mill at night in order to make a living because the scholarship covered tuition only. And so then I had worked as a cowboy for a while before then in a lumber mill. I slept an average of 45 hours a night. And so then I was approached by someone to make a river trip in Idaho on the Salmon River, the river of no return. I said, what's the upshot? She said, well, if we return, then we go to California with a documentary. And that's how I came to California.
And that's how you came to California. Let's jump ahead to The Young and the Restless, because you initially signed a very short-term contract.
3 months.
3 months. So what was supposed to be 3 months became decades. And
37 years.
37 years. And let's see, your character has been married 14 times.
Really?
Thought dead 3 times.
Oh, okay.
That's staying power. That is staying power. The family reunions in the Newman household must be awkward.
It's rather strange.
Yes. Did you ever think...
Disjointed.
Did you ever think from those humble beginnings of a 3-month contract, did you ever hope to think you'd have that longevity, playing that character for that long?
I had no clue.
No.
Not the vaguest notion. And had someone said that to me, I would have run away. I would not have done that. So, because to do a soap is a very difficult thing to do. It's arguably the hardest medium for an actor in our business. Friday, for example, before I left for the East Coast, I did 42 pages in one day, the day before 31 pages. So, it's a rather daunting task.
Yes.
Scary if you're not used to it.
But you got used to it. You must drift in and out of the character. Do you ever wonder where you end and Victor begins?
No.
No. Because there are a lot of people out there who believe you're one and the same.
Well, they're right in some ways. Obviously, you draw from yourself when you play this. And But do I ever confuse the two? Never.
No.
Once they say cut, that's it. I couldn't care less. I'm intensely interested in politics and sports and don't think about it at all.
I've got to ask, we're living in a time where television and the media is evolving and changing at such a rapid pace. A number of well-established soaps have passed on. Why do you think that is? And why do you think Y&R has bucked that trend?
Very good question. I can't answer that succinctly, except to say that networks thought they were getting too expensive.
Yeah.
Because a huge cast, about 25 people, 30 people, and it's easier to do a talk show or some reality show, I guess. They will come back. There's a need in people to hear stories.
Yes.
And to get involved in the evolution of characters and families. People love that, you know, since time immemorial. The Greeks started with that stuff. Homer started with that stuff.
We're sitting in these chairs that we both admit are not the most comfortable.
No.
But with your voice, I wish I had a lounge chair here and you could just read the phone book. Eric, thank you so much. This has been a real pleasure.
Same to you.
The book is fascinating.
All right.
And I got to say, I don't care. I'm such a fan of yours.
That's
and
wonderful.
It's such a pleasure to meet you.
I really appreciate the same to you.
All the best.
And I must say, I always like to come to Toronto, or Canada, period. You Canadians are nice people. And don't ever allow guns into this country. Don't do that. Do not do that. Okay?
So says Victor Newman.
Precisely.
So say we all.
Exactly.
Eric's book is I'll Be Damned. It's in bookstores now.